Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICTS Edtech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICTS Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Good afternoon po sa lahat, lalong-lalo na po sa ating mga mag-aaral at mga magulang who are watching our live stream of ETUlay online tutorial. At pa-shoutout din po sa aming CID Chief ng Schools Division Office of Ormoc City na si Dr. Alejandrito Almendras and to our Division Senior High School Coordinator, Ma'am Imelda Amodia. And also I would like to greet my beautiful wife, Jonaliza, at sa aking anak na si Baby Jude, na nanonood po ngayon, alright? And welcome po ulit sa lahat ng ating online viewers. Hello po kay Maxine Locas, okay? Magandang hapon po sa inyo at sa iba pong nanonood ngayon. Please comment down your names at of course your division and schools po, okay? Again, ako po si Tutor June at muli samahan niyo ako class as we learn very important topics for inquiries, investigations, and immersion. Again, this applied subject for grade 12 is a culminating activity for our research discussions in PR1 and PR2 through qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods research implementations. Okay, nandito na po si Maricel Estrada Sanchez and Kayla Muriel Papiliero. We also have Rosalie Galinzoga Pundar. Welcome po sa inyong lahat. Okay? And today's exciting session class will lead us to understand our topic on Quarter 3, Week 5, Reading on Related Studies. Specifically, we are going to select, cite, and synthesize properly related literature. Okay? And for the information of everyone, ang module na ating pinagbabatayan sa tutorial session na ito ay ang self-learning package in PR2 ni Sir James Pedrera from Alang-Alang National High School, Division of Leyte. And some of the contents also in our presentation are taken from Mr. Von Christopher Chua, former Education Program Supervisor in Mathematics in Eastern Samar Division. To begin, I will be showing you jumbled letters on the screen, and I would like you to guess the exact word within 5 seconds only. Okay? And for each correct answer, you will receive 3 points from your research teacher or research teachers. Alright? Hello po sa mga research teachers na nanonood ngayong hapon. Magandang hapon po sa inyo. Okay? And also, class, do not forget to write your answers in the comment section below. Actually, these words are just related to our topic today. Alright? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let us start with our first word. What's the word? Guess the word. Let me check who got it right. Again, you need to write your answer in the comment section below to receive 3 points from your research teacher. Vanessa Ases answered articles. Okay, how about the others? Okay, how about the others? Please write your answers in our comment section. Okay, the correct answer, class, is articles. Good job. You guessed the first word correctly. Let's proceed with our second word. What's the word? Guess the word. Let's see if who will get this right. In our first word, Jane Wencitadora answered articles, correct? Risen Escalerelia Hipolito answered articles. Okay, for our first word, second word, Vanessa Asis answered websites. Okay, how about the others? Maika Hindoy answered websites. Drex Razon answered websites as well. And you are right. The correct word is websites. Very good. And here is our third and last word. What's the word? Guess the word. As I have said, write your answer in the comment section. Okay, let me check your answers. For the third and final word. We have Vanessa Ases answered journals. Julianne Dehanyo answered journals. Jodea answered journals. Jean Kenneth, Andy Hasmin. Okay. All answered journals. You guessed it right. The correct word is journals. So congratulations, class, for answering it all correctly. Now, what have you noticed with these words, class? Articles, websites, and journals. What do you call these words? These are called sources of information. And articles, websites, and journals are one of the most common sources where we get some past and current information in our study in order for us to write the literature review. But why do we need, class, to write the literature review of our research? Or why do we need to do a literature review in our study? Is it only because since it's required in your research, or because we were told by our research teacher to do so? Of course not, no? That is not the main purpose why we do a literature review. Now, what is review of related literature really mean? And what is its purpose in our research? Now, review of related literature is a written summary of journal articles, books, and other documents that describes the past and current state of information on the topic being studied. But with so much information available on the internet nowadays, class, searching and locating good literature on your topic can be very challenging. That is why later I will introduce 5 Logical Steps in Reviewing Your Literature by Creswell 2008, so that you can locate useful resources and write them into the literature review section of your research paper. Again, why do we need to do a literature review? First is to establish the importance of the topic and to provide background information needed to understand the study. Yes, in order to show that you have a good understanding of a research problem that you are delving with, you need to write a literature review of your study. For instance, when your teacher asks you whether same-sex marriage is allowable in the Philippines or not, you do not just say your stand, no, based on intuition. Rather, you read several sources and you synthesize them through coherent writing why or why not same-sex marriage should be allowed. Your conclusive answer to this question must be based in existing literatures. Okay. Number 3, writing the literature review will assure your readers that you are familiar with the important research that has been carried out in your area or field of interest. Because a good literature review class will give our readers the impression that you, as the researcher, is knowledgeable of your subject matter. And lastly, the purpose of doing a literature review is to establish your study as one link in a chain of research that is a developing knowledge in your field. That is why your literature review class must point out what has already been studied or known about the problem and what has not been addressed about the problem or the so-called research gap based on existing literatures. And you must be able to establish how would the new knowledge of your research helps fill in this research gap in your review of related literature. And remember, class, whether you summarize, paraphrase, or quote a source, you always have to cite the source or author. Take note, you simply are borrowing the idea and you do not own the idea. Else, you use it as your own without acknowledging the source, then you are not borrowing, you are officially stealing someone's idea. It is a form of theft known as plagiarism, defined as presenting someone else's work or ideas as your own with or without their consent by incorporating it into your work without full acknowledgement. As such, it is important that you acknowledge sources in the review of related literature. And according to Davidson College Library, the research paper should contain no more than 10 or 20% quoted material or similarity index. But of course, this depends on the policy of an institution. Some would allow only 5% similarity index. More than that, it is already considered a plagiarized work. But this can be avoided, class, by paraphrasing or through restating the idea similar to how the author originally described it. And of course, do not forget to cite the source or the author when citing sources. Okay. Now, class, regardless of whether the study is quantitative or qualitative, these are the common steps that can be used in conducting our literature review, and this is based from one of the books of John Creswell, 2008. Knowing these steps, class, will help you read and understand a research study, although conducting a literature review follows no prescribed path. But if you plan to design and conduct a study, you will typically go through these 5 interrelated steps. Okay, first step, identify the key terms to be used in your search for literature. Begin your research of the literature by narrowing your topic to a few key terms using one or two words or short phrases. Okay? You should choose these terms carefully because they are important for initially locating literature in a library or through an internet search. Okay? Now, let's have this research title: Senior High School Students' Knowledge of Dengue, a Cross-Sectional Study, based or from the book or from the self-learning package of Pedrera 2020. Okay, now we have the statement of the problem of the given study. The study quantitatively described the dengue knowledge of senior high school students in Alang-Alang National High School. Specifically, it sought answer to the following questions. Number one, what is the profile of respondents in terms of age, sex, grade, grade level, academic strand, and academic performance? Number two, what is the respondent's level of dengue knowledge? And number three, what are the respondent sources of dengue knowledge? Okay, now, in identifying key terms class, these terms will be identified based on our problem statement and the research questions of our study. Since the statement of the problem becomes your guide in writing the review of related literature. If you have 3 questions in the statement of the problem, then you might have 2 to 3 themes. For instance, we have the research, this research study. So we have questions dealing with the profile. By the way, the question dealing with the profile of respondents do not necessarily have to be included in the themes for our review. So in this case, our key variables of the study are dengue knowledge and sources of dengue knowledge. Okay? Now, after identifying key terms, we can use relevant keywords or connectors to find our desired sources. And one of the common searching strategy is the Boolean searching strategy. Again, Boolean searching strategy. Boolean searching allows the user to combine or limit words and phrases in an online search in order to retrieve relevant results. Using the Boolean terms and, or, and not, the searcher will be able to define relationships among the concepts. Now, one can use the connector or to broaden search results. This expands the search to include all records containing either of the two concepts. In the illustration, we have endangered or birds. In here, we are actually searching either of the terms endangered or birds. Furthermore, we can use and to narrow search results. You're instructing the resource to retrieve only those documents or records containing both words or phrases. For example, online programs and student success. Or in the illustration, we have endangered and birds. The more terms added to the search, the narrower the results will be using the connector and. In addition, we can use not to narrow search results by eliminating specific words or phrases from the search results. For example, student and performance, not musical. If we type student and performance, not musical, this will eliminate articles about student musical performances. In the illustration, endangered, not birds. So you will be able to limit your searches to endangered animals, but not on birds. Let's proceed. The second step in writing the literature review in our study is to locate literatures about a topic by consulting several types of materials and databases, including those available at the academic library and on the internet. Having identified key terms, you can now begin search for relevant literature. You might be tempted to begin your search by accessing the internet, although this process may be convenient. But I want to emphasize this class that not all literatures posted on the internet is dependable or reliable. Beware, class, sometimes individuals post articles on the internet that have not passed through standards of external reviews. However, there are available documents of high quality on the internet that can be taken from reliable sites, databases, and academic libraries that you can use for your search of relevant literatures. Okay, we have the following are just some of the free and reliable sites that you can go to. Okay, we have Google Scholar, ResearchGate, and ERIC, or the Educational Resources Information Center. We also have the ProQuest, Philippine e-journals, and Academia. Okay, we can also go to Psych articles. We also have Sabre, WB Open Knowledge Repository, data.gov.ph, take note. We also have Teach 100 and Citation Machine. These are all reliable sources that you can go to in locating for your related literatures. Okay. Now, let me return to the major steps in conducting a literature review. The process in the literature review begins with identifying key words or terms of the study. And then next step is to locate resources. Now, once you locate the literature, you need to determine if it is a good source to use and whether it is relevant to your particular research. So the third step is to critically evaluate and select the literature for your review. You may ask the question, is the search literature a good and accurate source? It sometimes comes as a shock to beginning researchers that even though a study has been published, it may not be worthy of including in a literature review. According to Creswell 2008, we need to rely as much as possible on journal articles published in national journals. We can also use a priority system for searching the literature. For example, we can start with referred journal articles, then proceed to non-referred journal articles, then books, then conference papers, dissertations, and theses, and finally, those non-reviewed articles posted to websites. This order, class, reflects the extent of external review of materials from the high level of review to minimal or no review. Now, this question, class, or review will also help us determine if the information is relevant to use in a literature review. Is it relevant, or is the source relevant? Okay, now relevance has several dimensions, and you might consider the following criteria when selecting literature for a review. The first one is topic relevance. Does the literature focus on the same topic as your proposed study? We have in the individual and site relevance. Does the literature examine the same individuals or sites that you want to study? Next is the problem and question relevance. Does the literature examine the same research problem that you propose to study? Does it address the same research question you plan to address? Okay, then we have the last criteria for relevance, accessibility relevance. Is the literature available in your library, or can you download it from a website? Can you obtain it easily from the library or a website? Now, if your answer is yes to these questions, then the literature is relevant for your literature review. Now, once you have located the literature and then accessed its quality and checked the literature for its relevance, the next step is to organize it for a literature review. Meaning, you have to organize the literature you have selected by abstracting or taking notes on the literature and developing a visual diagram or a visual picture of the literature or the so-called literature map. Once you have located the literature, assess its quality and check the relevance, okay, and then organize the literature. We now have, by the way, I would like to present, before we go to the last step, I would like to present this one. This is a step-by-step process in citing and organizing our sources using the Microsoft Word. This is one way of organizing our references. Okay, so in here, class, we can incorporate or build in our research references following the correct in-text citation. And of course, the correct referencing format using the Microsoft Word. Okay, first step, you are going to open, of course, your Microsoft Word and then go to References and make sure to set the referencing style to EPA or American Psychological Association. Okay, please refer to the screenshot on your screen. Now, remember, class, in your junior high school, you have been familiar with the American Psychological Association or the EPA, Modern Language Association or MLA, and the Chicago Manual of Style or the CMOS. Okay, these three referencing styles are commonly used, referencing styles. But when you write the review of related literature of your research class this semester, we are going to use and follow the EPA citation style. Okay, again, we are going to use and follow the EPA citation style 7th edition. Next step is you go to the Manage Sources and click New, and then supply the information needed in the Create Source or in the Create Source window after clicking the type of source. For example, article, book, reports, journals. Take note, class, that you will have a different information to supply or to fill in depending on the type of source. Okay, for example, if you will fill in the information on books, okay, the Microsoft Word will ask for a different information to supply if you will also fill in for journals or let's say websites. Okay, so you will have a different information to supply depending on the type of source. Okay, then lastly, you are going to click OK. Take note, okay, you click OK, and then lastly, we are going to, okay, so when you are done putting all your sources in, you will be able to generate your references or reference list or bibliography automatically. Okay, what you're going to do, you just click bibliography and choose what heading you want. Okay, just click bibliography, and then you can have, okay, references heading as encouraged by, the references heading, by the way, is encouraged by our EPA citation. Okay, we will use references, okay, instead of bibliography. The list of references will be automatically generated by MS Word for you. Okay, and as you go along with your study, kung meron kang nakalimutan na isama sa list of references, you can just go back No, you can just add another text with citation again, then click references and repeat numbers. Yung procedure natin, ulitin mo lang yon, and then generate references. So the list of references will just be automatically updated. Okay. So students usually get literature from books, websites, and journals. Okay, so the references on screen are formatted using the EPA 7th edition format for references, books, websites, and journals. Take note, the Creswell book is, the Creswell source is taken from a book source. We have Philippine News Agency is taken from a website, and then our Ibua and Labrage is taken from a journal. Okay, notice how the entries are formatted in the following reference list given the different sources. Okay. Now that you have scanned the literature to determine its relevance, and then abstracted it and organized it into a literature map, it's now time to construct the actual written summary of the literature. Okay, since we are now ready to write our literature review. Now, here is a portion of the literature review of the research entitled Senior High School Students' Knowledge of Dengue, a Cross-Sectional Study. Okay, so the researchers of the study started writing their literature review of the first theme, which is dengue knowledge. Now, I will not be reading anymore the entire text. However, take note, class, that the author date system of the EPA referencing style uses the last name of the author and the year of publication. In doing an in-text citation of a direct quote, write the name of the author followed by the year of publication enclosed in a parenthesis. For example, Kwon and Crisaldo 2014. That is for two authors. Chilean et al. 2017 for three or more authors. Okay, offered contradictory findings. Okay, now again, the last name of the author is outside the parenthesis, and then the year of publication is inside the parenthesis. But if you're going to write an in-text citation of an indirect quote, the last name of the author and the year of the publication will be enclosed in a parenthesis. For example, we have, regarding age of students, dengue knowledge differs significantly between age groups. Abase 2016. Okay, so take note, the last name of the author is already inside our parenthesis since we are actually writing an in-text citation of an indirect quote. Now, furthermore, if an idea is mentioned by several authors, you can do this. Despite the severity of dengue across the globe, students' knowledge about nature of disease, mode of transmission, symptoms, and recurrence seems to be insufficient. Alsik et al. 2015, Alazmi et al. 2016, Javed et al. 2018. So the author date citations of three sources are written separately by a semicolon. Okay, so you have here a connector, a semicolon. Okay. Next, class, is to write a literature review on the second theme. Okay, so again, our first theme is dengue knowledge. Okay, so after writing all the literature review of the first theme, which is dengue knowledge, next is to write the literature review on the second theme of this given study, which is the sources of dengue knowledge. And do not forget, class, to make your ideas in the literature review to be coherent, through the use of transitional devices. For example, if you want to compare ideas, you can use although. For example, although there is a surge of technological advancements, so on and so forth. Okay. And for you to show exception, we can use in spite of. For example, interestingly, the social media and the internet have not been reported in previous findings as source of dengue knowledge, in spite of students' increasing reliance on social media and various online sources for information. To summarize or conclude, we can use the transitional device, which is thus. For example, thus, the current study aims to fill the scarcity of information in the locale, specifically on the sources of dengue knowledge recognized by senior high school students. And there are a lot of transitional devices class that you can use in writing your literature review. Okay? Now, let us apply what you have learned in this exercise. You are going to fill in the blank with the correct word or words that make or makes the statement correct. Choose your answer from the text box below. Okay, so we have here a text box with words or phrases. So that contains the correct answer for these 4 questions. Okay, so you are going to choose your answer from the text box. Okay, and please answer the following questions by writing your answers in the comment section. Again, class, comment down below for your answers. All right, are you ready? Number 1. The American Psychological Association, or EPA, 7th edition, provides a convenient blank of in-text citation style. Okay, again, type your answer in the comment section. Jane Wencitadora says author date system. How about the others? Micah Hindoy answered author date system. That is correct. Author date system. Paulo Tumamak also answered author date system. As well as Julie Ann Dihanyo, Hazel Ann Garciano, and Beatriz Dasilio. Number 2, blank is a restatement of an idea in roughly the same length as the author originally described it. Okay, again, number 2, blank is a restatement of an idea in roughly the same length as the author originally described it. What is the answer? Andy Hasmin answered paraphrase. Micah Hindoy, Paulo Tomamak, Laika Jasmine Coro, Jane Wencitadora, Julianne, Amari Joy, Judea, Charlie, Eliza, Mary Jorens, Michael Angelo, Dihanyo, Fatima, Hazel Ann, Gerald, Jen Kenneth, Don Michael. Okay, that is correct. Paraphrase. Question number 3. The blank is a written summary of journal articles, books, and other documents that describes the past and current state of information on the topic. Again, number 3, the blank is a written summary of journal articles, books, and other documents that describes the past and current state of information on the topic. Andy Hasmin answered literature review. Jane Wencitadora, Julie Ann Dihanyo, Paulo Tomamak, Judea, Laika Jasmine, Eliza, Micah, Mary Jorens, Amari Joy, Michael Angelo, Vanessa, Charlie, Beatrice, Hazel Ann, Jean Kenneth, Mylene, Fatima, all answered literature review. That is correct. Very good, class. And lastly, number 4, begin your research of the literature by narrowing your topic using 1 or 2 words or short phrases, or identify the blank of the study. Okay, let's see if you will get it right. For number 4, Vanessa Asis answered key terms. Jane Wencitadora, as well as Judea, Micah, Laika Jasmine, Mary Jorens, Beatrice, Paulo, Michelangelo, Charlie, all answered key terms. That is correct. Okay. Now, for your assignment class, since this will take more time in answering or in making this as one coherent text, okay? So I will give this to you as an assignment. Okay, so for your assignment, you are going to synthesize these various sources into one coherent text. In here, you may apply paraphrasing and summarizing. Again, for this activity, you are going to put the following ideas coming from different sources coherently in one paragraph, and do not forget to cite your sources in the text. Okay, so for now, you can do a screenshot using your phone or laptop. Okay, again, please do a screenshot using your phone or laptop. Okay, you may post your answer in our FB timeline or in your FB timeline and use the hashtag ETUlay III stringing stories. Again, the hashtag is hashtag ETUlay III stringing stories. Okay. Any questions? Any questions, class, with the assignment? May tanong po ba? Alright. At iyan po ang ating online tutorial sa linggong ito. See you po in our next tutorial session. Same time, same day. This has been your ETUlay tutor, Sir June, na nag-iwan ng katagang, the research of today shall speak the innovations of tomorrow. Thank you and happy researching. Bye-bye! Bye, everyone. See you in our next tutorial session next Friday. Okay, while waiting na ma-out po ako sa platform, I would like to greet our students. Okay, Vanessa Asis, thank you. Sophie Keith Miren, Jas Montemayor, Judea de Golacion, Nisha Alicia Gukong, we have Carl San Pueblas, Angeline Quiapo, Gerald Sebastian Suwan, Zywin, Denise Espares. Okay. Okay.
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan sa Lunes mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa Science. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!
Mga guro at magulang, ating pagtulungan, kabataan ay turuan natin. Kahit na nasa tahanan, pag-aaral ay tutukan, oras at kasanayan ay ilaan. Sulong edukalidad, magbago man ang panahon, ipagpatuloy ating layunin, patatagin ang edukasyon. ETUlay ang gabay sa pagkatuto, ETUlay edukasyon itatawid sa iyo. ETUlay paaralan di lalayo sa iyo. ETUlay sa makabagong panahon, ETUlay para sa kabataang Pilipino. Kayo ba'y may katanungan at hindi maunawaan? Kami ang gabay at tulay na magtuturo sa'yo. Sa tulong ng teknolohiya at maging ng social media, paaralan ay kusang lalapit sa'yo. Tulong edukalidad, supuin maling impormasyon, katotohanan nating ituro, paunlarin ang edukasyon. ETUlay ang gabay sa pagkatuto, ETUlay edukasyon itatawid sa iyo. ETUlay paaralan di lalayo sa iyo. ETUlay sa makabagong panahon, ETUlay para sa kabataang Pilipino. ETUlay ang gabay sa pagkatuto, ETUlay edukasyon itatawid sa iyo. ETUlay paaralan di lalayo sa iyo. ETUlay sa makabagong panahon, ETUlay para sa kabataang Pilipino. ETUlay, ETUlay sa kabataang Pilipino. ETUlay, ETUlay sa kabataang Pilipino. ETUlay, ETUlay sa kabataang Pilipino.